Hey guys, and welcome to the season opera for 9 for 9 Sim Racing, racing on Nürburgring GP in very tricky conditions, a mixture between wet and dry. So as we start the race and come down to T1, we've got Lexus on the inside and Ferrari on the outside. The Lexus overshoots the corner, which allows the Bentley to take P1, followed by the Ferrari, and then the Lexus just slots in behind. Coming into the Mercedes arena, we can see in the back that there's been no incidents and it's all been kept clean, which is very good driving from the drivers in these tricky conditions. Tyre strategy was crucial in this race, as the dry tyres were able to take advantage of the grip on the dry line, and the wet tyres had to try and stay off the racing line as much as possible to keep them cool. Which here you can see now that both these drivers were driving with dry tyres and both went for the same part of the racetrack to try and maximise the grip into the corner. 2 into 1 doesn't work, so Sakami sadly got shot out to the right, and he then had to try and make a recovery drive for the rest of the race. So we stay on board with the Mercedes and see that the Lexus overshoots the corner, allowing the 44 Mercedes to get by. This is probably due to the start of the race and the tyres being very cold and the tricky conditions not allowing the tyres to warm up properly. So now we watch from above as the 31 Ferrari outbrakes himself going into turn 1, and just about avoiding the Audi that's in front of him and allowing the 36 Ferrari to get by so he can start his recovery drive from near the back of the grid back to the front. As we come down the start finish straight again, you can see the difference in tyre strategy here as the Lexus stays on the dry line and the Aston on the wet. The Lexus obviously needs a dry line to have traction under his dry tyres, but the Aston was on the wet line to try and keep the heat out of the tyres, due to overheating was a big factor in this race. And it seems that the dry tyres might have been the better choice, as we come in through the Mercedes arena now, you can see that the Lexus just has a better drive going through. So as we exit Coca-Cola, we have the Lexus getting around the McLaren. The McLaren must have had an incident coming into Coca-Cola because the Lexus is on dry tyres and is pulling away in the wet line. But as soon as it passes the McLaren, we can further see the tyre strategy here as the Lexus dives to the left side to get back on that dry line, and the McLaren dives to the right to try and cool those tyres down. So as we ride on board with the 444 Ferrari, we see the Lexus go way off in the distance, either because he missed his braking point or he's on dry tyres on a wet line and he just couldn't get the car to stop, handing his position away to the 444. As we enter the Ford curve, we see the wet conditions catching the Audi out, allowing the Nissan to pass through, and also the 64 Porsche that was following behind. Drama for the 240 McLaren as he got tagged in the back by the Aston Martin. Good work by a McLaren driver to get it back on track, and that allowed the 36 Ferrari to get through both of them as he's on his recovery drive and gets him up to third position. The Aston Martin knew that he was in the wrong, so he allowed the McLaren to get back in front, only for the McLaren to then lose it as he's coming through NGK, and that again allows the Aston Martin to take back over, but this time cleanly. So now back to the battle for first position as the Mercedes hits his brakes but overshoots the corner, which allows the Lexus to get underneath him, sticking to the dry line. I suspect that the Mercedes was driving in dry tyres, and braking on the wet line caused him to overshoot the corner and not stop as quick as he would have liked to have. Further disaster for the 36 Ferrari as he comes off track, possibly overdriving, trying to get his positions back. But as he comes back on track, he's been instantly harassed by the Aston Martin, who goes up the curbs on the right hand side and pushes the Ferrari off track. But don't count this Ferrari out yet, not by a long shot. As we come into the Coca-Cola curve, there is a slow Audi on the inside of the corner which slows down the 31 Ferrari, but then out drags the 31 Ferrari as it comes down the straight. But these two cars battling are holding up the 36 Ferrari, which is coming down behind them to put a lap on them. The Ferrari just about had his nose ahead, but the Audi beats him on the brakes, and on the exit of the corner the Audi seems to be having a little bit of trouble because it holds up the 31 Ferrari. We're right on board with the 240 McLaren to see that the McLaren loses the back end through the Mercedes arena, does a very good job to keep it out of the wall, but then allows the 91 Nissan to get past with relative ease, and leaving the McLaren to then have to try and play catch up. Riding on board with the Mercedes, we can see the 31 Ferrari just getting two wheels in the dirt over the right side, and that causing him to get spat across to the left and losing control of the car. Racing is going just as strong further down the field as we see the 949 Lamborghini take too much curb, and between the two different surfaces slides across the track and then nearly gets spat out of the track again over the other side, but managed to keep hold of it and keep in the wheel tracks of the Lexus that was following it. Now a role reversal as we ride on board with the 949 Lamborghini as we see that Lexus overshoot that corner again, so he must be having issues on the inside line of that corner. So now back to the Lexus, who's really asserting his dominance as he's been through the pits, changed for another set of dry tyres, sticking with that dry line, and the Aston Martin failed to go into the pits and make his pit stop, so the Aston Martin should have been further up the road. The number 3 Lexus was really caught up and blew past him like he was standing still. So now riding on the back of the 31 Ferrari, we can see that the Audi is trying his hardest to chase it down and get past. Battle scars on the front indicate that he could have damage, and it would explain why he has such a hard time trying to get past. The Ferrari driver is doing everything he can to try and keep that Audi behind him, being on the inside line, and the Audi has no choice but to give up and try and chase down further in the race. The 36 Ferrari is still making a climb up the leaderboard and gets a really good run on the Mercedes on the right, but as soon as he touches that brake, being half on the dry line, half on the wet line, he just lost control of the car, turned it into the 44, and then, knowing that it was his mistake, give the position back to the 44 to then battle again another day. As we follow the 47 Nissan, we see that the Aston Martin seems to be having an issue staying as tight as possible to the corner and not driving very fast, to the point that he ends up driving off this corner and leaving the Nissan and the Lexus go past without any resistance. As we come through the Mercedes arena, we see the 36 Ferrari catches back up with the 44 Mercedes. The 44 Mercedes goes wide over the slippery stuff, does a very good job just to keep it together and not lose the car, but ultimately loses his position, and that recovering 36 Ferrari has gone from near the back of the field back up to P2. Approaching the Schumacher S's, we see that the 31 Ferrari gets it all wrong on the entrance and then has to go up the gravel, causing him to lose 2 positions in the process. Riding on board with the 91 Nissan, we can see there's a problem with the 44 Mercedes as we come in down one of the fastest parts of the track, and the Nissan passes it as a breeze. But due to passing him and being compromised, the Nissan comes off track and just about keeps it, brings it back on track before the Mercedes had the opportunity to try and retake position. So riding on board with the Mercedes, we can see that it's definitely an issue. The fuel map is on 3, the throttle's halfway, so the fuel calculation must have been incorrect for the race when preparing. The way these races are set up, you can do your pit stops, but you're only allowed tyres and you're not allowed to refuel the cars at any condition. So the car has to have enough fuel from the start of the race to then finish the race. So now fair and hard battling for 8th position between 3 cars. As we come round to the next corner, we see the 421 Bentley getting it wrong, going wide, which allows the Audi and the Ferrari to get through, but the Bentley gets straight back on the back end of that Audi, ready to go for another round. At the end of the race, we see the Lexus suddenly slow down, which seemed to be an indication that the Lexus had a problem, but it doesn't. It was just waiting for the timer to run down due to the Mercedes not being able to complete an extra lap. So if the Lexus crossed the line before the timer ran out, that would have meant that the Mercedes would have had to go around an extra lap, which means he would definitely run out of fuel and he would not have been able to finish the race. So after the first race, we see that the Lexus of Luke Southall has first, Sakame second, and Shane Rees third. And for the teams, we have Musto GD and Slow Racing Team joined with 56 points, being followed by Pro Street with 45 points. Thanks again for watching this video. Like last time, please leave comments of things you would like to see. I am trying to change things, but it's a process. It's all new, but I am trying to change things. So anything you'd like to see, please let me know, and I will try and do the best I can. Thanks again for 949 for a brilliant race, and I'm going to let you go with the opening 2 laps of this race, and I'll see you in the next one.